Today is June 6th, 2024. Welcome to episode 99 of Reliance with Canny Couple.
Well, episode 99.
Yeah.
You know what that means next, right?
Right. We're close.
That's episode 100. So, going to tease it a little to begin with. We're going to revisit who we are, how we got where we're at, what we're trying to bring to you. We'll talk about some of our goals along the way.
Absolutely. Because they've changed.
They have.
They have. They've changed. And as part of who we are, I'm Julia.
And I'm Aaron.
And we're a small homestead family in rural Southwest Virginia that work every day to merge homesteading and reality.
Yeah. And it's not easy.
It's not.
It's not meant to be.
No, it's not. You have to make hard choices, and that's what today's episode is about. Because I really feel like we've become a society, in general, all generations, of not wanting to make the hard choice. Having life handed to you, like, why isn't it easier? Why is it so hard? If you think 100, 200 years ago, life was easy, no. No. It was much simpler because they didn't have they didn't have
the influences of society.
Well, social media.
Yes.
That is the thing that has changed everything.
It really has.
Because life, while it wasn't easy when we were growing up, we didn't have all the craziness that you see today.
Well, it might have been there. You just didn't see it.
Well, we didn't have influencers shoving things in your faces. You need this right now. You need to go out and buy a homestead that's 30 acres.
You had infomercials.
You had it. Yeah, but they weren't going to pay for that. Like, you can do a TikTok for free. Costs nothing but purchase somebody's time. And going out, taking a few snippets of what their perfect lifestyle is, what the perfect traditional wife is, what the perfect stay-at-home mom is, the perfect homeschool mom is. You see all of this, and it's bombarded. And you're like, why is my life so hard? My life should be easier. And then you have everybody telling you how to make your life easier, including us.
Yep. We'll
be honest about it. We're trying to help you live your best life. But life is not meant to be hard. And sometimes...
You mean... Be easy.
Be easy. Yeah, life's not meant to be easy. But it can get easier if you work on simplifying.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the mentality, and there's some trends out there that are really big right now. And everybody knows of the entitlement trend. And it is not just younger generations and kids. Mm-mm. This is everybody. You see this entitlement everywhere.
Yeah.
I deserve this. I need this. And this is not to say you shouldn't have a feeling of entitlement. You should feel good about doing a good job. You should feel good about working really hard. But you have to work to get what you want.
That's very true. I mean, you're not entitled to that Stanley Cup.
No. You're not. You can't just go grab it and get it for free. You need to pay for it. You need to have cash to pay for it.
Yeah.
You pay for the bank. I wasn't entitled to be a stay-at-home mom. This was a decision we had to make as a couple, as a family. And I wouldn't have made that decision if we would have been in debt. We're different in that way because for us, we felt like the debt was crippling.
Right,
it was crippling.
Right. It was.
It wasn't, but we felt like it was. And we felt like bringing me home, that was too much of an unsafe option if we had debt.
Right. It could have been done.
It could have been done.
Just taken longer.
It would have taken longer, and we would not have felt safe.
Right.
We wouldn't have. So we made the hard choice. We struggled for months on the homestead. Things didn't happen. Things didn't get done. We struggled for months just to make every single day we were a hamster spinning on our wheel.
Yeah.
Because we made that hard choice. So that sense of entitlement that's going around, it's everywhere. I mean, you see it everywhere. It's absolutely insane. You can't turn on your local news without seeing this. In a lot of places, it's like looking at ads everywhere. It's crazy. And then there's the new mentality, the treat mentality.
And this is one I'm not familiar with myself because
it's newer.
I just haven't seen it.
I need to go get a treat. A treat of Starbucks. A treat of a manicure. This is a treat for me. Like, ladies, treat yourself to a spa day or something like this. Treat mentality. Which, I'm not saying don't go and do a treat for yourself. But a treat for yourself is not
every day.
Every day, every week. It's an occasional thing that is in your budget.
Right, right.
It's an occasional thing in your budget. So you have this treat mentality that goes along with, that makes it really easy. Like, oh, I've worked so hard today. Kids drove me to, trust me, I feel you. The screaming kid all day long. Man, I love a milkshake at this point. Like, but that's a treat. And it's like, I'm not going to go get every day, but then it's like, well, you have to get out of the house. Well, if you go out of the house, you got to go buy Starbucks. Go buy Starbucks. You got to get this, and then the kids need the cake pops from Starbucks. Like, it becomes a huge thing.
How much are those?
$3, I think. Cause we don't know. We don't go.
Right.
We don't go.
That's why I was asking.
we don't get coffee out places. No. We actually make it the night before, or have it ready to go the night before if we're going to get up early and make it to go. And if we have any left over, I put it in the carafe.
And drink it that evening.
And he drinks it that evening, so it stays warm enough.
Yeah.
So we have a treat mentality. We have entitlement. All of this stuff works towards you. You have social media, these influences out there. It's overwhelming. It really is. And a lot of it is telling you, you don't have to work so hard. You can take shortcuts. You can do the easy thing. You can go out and you can get 10 rental properties for $10 or whatever nonsense they're telling you. Sorry, it might not be nonsense, but
that's what it sounds like.
It's too risky for me. Well, people do this.
Right. People
do this. And it's just so difficult. But I feel like a lot of people are really pushing it off on, well, this is easier and this is actually better for us. And they're not realizing that every single decision you make every day, buying that cup of coffee, what you're going to have for dinner, affects you long term. If you don't have the money for that $30 takeout,
right,
that's extra debt added to your debt load.
Yep.
And $30 doesn't seem like a big deal, but it does. It adds up. Well, you're doing $30 every week, every other day. And it just becomes a cycle. And a lot of people don't want to just take ownership of those decisions. And I think that's part of it. I think this is an ownership issue.
It probably is.
An accountability issue.
I mean, most people are not as accountable as they used to be. No,
you hear it in the workplace all the time.
Yeah.
You need to be accountable. You need to stand up. But it's usually pushed on other people. That's like a big thing. But you do. You have to be accountable for the choices you make. And sometimes you have to shift and you have to be like, okay, listen, this isn't right for us. We need to reevaluate. And that's okay. That's what we're here to help you with. So, why is this so important? The more you punt decisions, the easy decisions, the hard decisions, the more you punt just putting things off, the more you give up your own freedom.
That's true.
You give your freedom to the credit card companies. You give your freedom to your bank for your mortgage. You give your freedom to your job because you have to keep that job and you're not in a sustainable place where if something happened, you could walk away because of whatever you are stuck there. You are giving away bits of your freedom every single day. And our society is built in such a way that this is so easy. It is so easy. And it is so hard to work towards a different lifestyle. So when we paid off our house, it was crazy hard to pay off the loan. It was insanely hard.
And they make it that way.
They make it that way on purpose because they don't want you to pay it off early.
Exactly. Because the quicker you pay something off,
the less
they're making money. Just like if you hear people talk about paying cash for a car. They don't want that because they get no interest from it. So they don't come out as much. And especially like the finance officer, they probably get a cut a lot of times on how many loans they sell.
And if you're like, well, I'll get a loan because then I could get this discount, make sure there's not a payoff fee. Because we did have a payoff fee we had to pay for paying off early. So it was an early payoff fee. We couldn't just go in and pay it. We had to go to the bank. The bank wouldn't just let us do it online through an online signing system. No. We had to go inside, physically sign paperwork and go through the whole just to get this paid off. They didn't want our money.
Right. And that's the point. That's the point. They want to push it as long as possible to make it as many steps as possible so that you are paying more interest.
The easier thing would have been to just keep paying that monthly payment.
It would have been.
So we made the hard choice. We were like, okay, nope, we got to go through all these hoops, jump through all this to get this done. And yeah, we had to pay off a little extra for the extra payoff, but for us it was worth it because we felt that freedom. The system is built for you to naturally gravitate towards the easier choice, the choices that might actually hold you back and take away your freedoms. It really is. It's built to be that way. And it almost feels like society has made it that way on purpose.
It does. And a good example I saw the other day, trees. We ordered some trees online. We saw a sale. The website now has the option to buy now, pay later.
Yes.
So you can order your trees and pay for them later now. All of that stuff is to keep you indebted longer.
Yep. So, our goal is just to bring you awareness, to point this out, to help you think like everything that you're doing, you should do with mindfulness and consciousness. We do this every day as a frugal homesteading couple. We look at every decision that we make. We're like, okay, does this really make sense for us? And this can seem exhausting, but once you get in the habit,
it's easy.
Really not.
It's just like a basic conversation.
It is. It becomes a basic conversation. Aaron and I do things that most other couples don't do. We've never argued about money. Never.
Because we talk about everything.
Everything. Every dollar. Every single dollar. And you're like, that's not possible. It is?
Yeah.
Absolutely. When we first decided to go on this journey together, to live together, to go forward as a married couple, the switch flipped. Yep. I was like, well, I need to stay here for an evening. I'm going to pay for their meal. Is that okay? He's like, yeah, that's fine. I went out to lunch with somebody or snack with somebody and I got $1 brownie and I'm like, is this okay? He's like, yep, that's fine. Yeah. And he would do the same thing. I'm going to get lunch while I'm out today. This was before we really started hitting the frugality extremely hard, but that is how we started. Yeah. Our relationship, our marriage. And it has kept us from fighting about money, which everybody swears you can't do, but you can.
If you talk about it.
If you talk about it. And you have the same goals. Our goal was...
That's the point, too. You've got to have the same goals.
You do. And you have to have hard conversations. It's not easy if one of you is a spender and one of you is a saver, because you're going to butt heads. Aaron is more of a spender.
I am.
He is.
And how I compensate for things like that, things I want. Hey, if I get some birthday money, I save up for that. Or if it's something I want, I put it on my wish list for birthday or Christmas.
Or we wait till we have room in the budget. If it's something for the house, the homestead.
Right. Yeah, if it's something for both of us, that we need homestead-wise, that I think we need, it would be one of those months, hey, we're $500 below budget. Let's get this $100 item now.
Yep. So that's how we make this work for us. We talk through it. We know the budget. We both have the same goals, the same long-term goals, and we're both working to meet them.
Right.
Every single day.
Yeah.
Every single day. And again, a lot of people will be like, that's just exhausting. I don't have time for that. You make the time for that.
And for example, we do finances every Sunday morning. We sit down, we talk about it, we update the spreadsheets to show where we're at, and we talk about, okay, hey, this is where we're at the month, this is what we need to hold ourselves to.
Yep. And it's worked out really well for us.
It has.
It has. We've been so consistent. We've not missed a single Sunday. If we think we're going to miss a Sunday, we do it the day before.
Or if we were gone for some reason, we'd probably do it the day we got back.
Absolutely. And so we're just trying to help you get some more ease into your life. Because once you start to realize and make the hard decisions, you can actually start to simplify your life. You really can. It starts to become easier. Mm-hmm. It does. It really does. So here are some areas that we feel are important for making hard choices. And the first one we've mentioned a few times. It is a hard choice to get out of debt. All debt. It's so hard. It is so easy to stay in debt. It just...
there is so many ways to get in
so
debt.
many ways. A car loan, your credit cards, multiple car loans. Yeah. And my gosh, cars right now are crazy, insane expensive. RVs, campers, houses,
or your groceries anymore at Walmart.
Well, yeah, because you can buy now, pay later, or buy this in this many installments.
Right, stuff like that. There is
Amazon.
So much. Our society is built around debt.
It is about easy access to goods, and it wasn't like this when we were growing up. You had to go to the store to get it.
Right.
You had to get out of the vehicle and go pay for it. Mm-hmm. You had to go actually somewhere physical and bring it home. Things weren't delivered to your door by some guy.
Well, or drones.
Or drones. Depending on where you live.
Right. Not for us.
Not for us.
They'd crash it into
the mountains. They'd crash into the trees. Yeah. They're gone. They're gone. So, it's so much harder to be debt-free. It really is.
It is. Because everything wants you to be in debt.
It does. It's how the systems work. They like debt. A lot of people tell you need to leverage debt. Leverage, go into debt to get this rental and this. Like, I'll tell you straight up, rental property is not a future investment for us.
No. Like, if we ever did decide it for some reason, it would be one where we paid cash for it.
Yes.
And we have other plans for it.
Yes. Because it's just... that seems so exhausting to me as a business venture. And I know a lot of people feel like it's passive. I don't see it as passive because I manage a home every single day.
Yep.
Managing a home is not passive. Making sure everything's working, everything's functioning when things go wrong, and having the cash to take care of that as needed. It's not passive. You have to be in it. And a lot of people are not going to understand that you want to be debt-free. Yeah. You're going to get looks.
Yep.
Well, you're like, I'm sorry, our budget doesn't let us do that this month. They're to be like, well, you have the money. Well, no, I really don't. I'm paying off debt. You're going to get looks. Now, it's becoming more acceptable because Gen Zers, they are trying to dig out a hole. Or you see, like, segments that are trying to dig, trying to do all the things. You see segments of, society that are working to get out of it because they've realized, like, man, I'm stuck and I'm not seeing any traction. This is the fastest way for us to get traction. I can tell you, for us, we're doing so much better without it. We really are. And it doesn't feel like we're just working to pay somebody else.
You have more sense of purpose.
You do. You do. And a lot less stress.
That is true as well.
You have a lot less stress. I can tell you you sleep a lot different, a lot better.
Right. Knowing that, if I miss this payment,
So that's one area where you're making the hard choice to get out debt free. And that seems like an easy choice. You would be like, well, yeah, everybody wants to live debt free.
But you've got to do the hard part to get out of it.
Until you look online and it says, take out this business loan and take out this and do this and do this. And then by the time you're this age, you're going to have this many $1 million. That's a thing.
It's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, it's like, like talking about a kid. They're doing this to kids. Like, take out it's crazy.
It's like when they're kids, I had to have
like the LLCs for $50,000, like from a bank, and then you're going to invest it here and do this. And by the time your kids this stage, they're going to be it's crazy. The things you see, like, I don't understand. I don't understand, like, the risk you're taking for these things is insane to me.
It is.
But that's a hard choice. You choose to take that risk.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, that's a hard no.
Right.
That's a very hard no. There's another hard choice is to have your family prepared. Again, this seems so easy. This one seems like a no-brainer. But we know people who only buy a week's worth of groceries at a time.
Yep.
Who, if the power were to go out
for, let's say, 2 days,
they would be struggling.
Yep.
Having the choice to have your basic preparedness, whether you're homesteading or prep or whatever, that is a hard decision to make. So, number one, you have to make sure you're covered for emergencies. For food shortages. Can't tell me you haven't seen them, because they happen.
Right.
Formula shortages.
We experienced that.
We did. So we saw that. We lived that. And the hospitals in our area and the news is saying you shouldn't have more than 2 weeks worth of formula. You're lucky if you saw any formula.
Right.
Anywhere.
Yeah.
And we're not here to discuss formula versus, mama fed, whatever. Baby's fed, that's all that matters. Electrical outages, blackouts, that's a thing.
And especially with as much solar flares as we've been having lately, there is a greater chance of just some random one happening on a pretty sunny day.
Yep.
Oh, or just like, a tree falling down on your power lines,
No wind, no nothing.
No nothing. We had that the other night without power 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah. Quite a while. It was a bit. We just went to bed, but we were ready for it. We had everything we needed.
Right. We had to search for the flashlight right when it went out because we were in the kitchen.
We were in the kitchen. But I managed to grab one. Aaron had his phone, and we were able to work through it. It takes hard work. You have to budget for these things because, again, you don't want to go into debt. You don't want to go buy $1,000 worth of food that you're not going to eat.
Right. Don't go out and buy,
Build a working pantry.
Yeah.
Whatever your family needs, build a few staple meals, ready-to-eat meals that you have on hand that you don't have to worry about. Again, Pop-Tarts are a great one to have on hand. Basic canned food that you can heat up really easy. Yeah. A thermal cooker that you don't need to heat outside.
I tell you what, that's a game changer.
It is. It is.
We'll be doing a video on that soon. We're still playing around with it a little just to see if it does do everything.
Hey, didn't realize I cooked dinner in it.
Dinner, breakfast. Just put it on the camera, let it cook overnight.
I did breakfast. I cooked it that night. Started that night, put it in. It was perfect.
That's nice.
Hard choice to homestead if that's your choice in life. So, homesteading seems like it's really easy, but this is a hard choice, and you're going to get.
Well, the people that glorify it.
Yes.
It does seem very appealing
and very easy,
but it's not easy.
It's not.
It's
hard work.
If you do it right.
It's a lot of hard work.
Right.
You're going to be working. You're going to be doing a lot of stuff. Like, homesteading is not going to Tractor Supply and buying a tomato plant, pepper plant, and a broccoli plant. That's what Grandma and Grandpa do.
That's what they do.
That's what they do. We just saw that the other day. We were at a Tractor Supply looking for something.
Yep. They had maybe 5-6 total plants.
5-6 total plants, all they needed.
Yep.
All they needed. They just want something for fresh eating.
That's all they wanted.
And that's fine. That's fine. That's gardening.
That's good.
That's good. We love that. We love seeing that, man. You are awesome. And you are using these skills that you've had for years and years. And that's just amazing. But homesteading in itself is totally different. You're tired. You're exhausted. You might not have animals, but you know what? You got blueberries to pick because you got a gallon of blueberries that got to be picked before the birds get them. You can't wait.
That's been our every evening here for the past
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. It's been picking every day.
Yep.
Before that was every other day. And not only do you have to pick them, you got to wash them. You got to put them up. You got to make sure there's no bugs in them. You've got to do all the other work. Plus, you have to do all the other homestead stuff, weed the garden, take care of everything else, make sure everything's doing what it needs to do. If it needs to be watered and you're a waterer, you got to make sure that happens.
Right.
All of these things start to add up. It's not,
it's not just one or two things. You have a lot of hard work, daily
food
chores,
preservation.
I mean,
You're managing a lot.
You can think of homesteading as, what a lot of people would say farming back in the old days.
Mm-hmm. Like small farms. It's what, my mom and papa used to do way back when, take care of their family.
Yeah.
And in our area, a lot of people shifted away from this.
Because it was too hard.
They want the conveniences.
Exactly. When conveniences became more accessible.
So now they're called grandma and grandpa hobbies when our grandma and grandpas don't do them anymore. That's the thing. You do your grandma hobbies and make bread. My grandma didn't make bread. She made biscuits.
I guess we're doing those every day then.
We're doing those every day. I don't remember. Your grandma didn't do those things, did she?
No.
She had a little garden.
She always had a garden. Always. But she grew up Great Depression.
Yes. Well, my papa had a garden too.
Yeah.
But I don't remember them.
I don't remember her ever making bread.
Jellies and jams and all that. Maybe a little bit.
Maybe a little on that, but she didn't have nothing to make it from.
You'd have to buy it.
Exactly.
And so they don't have like the, systems in place like we do. I have apple trees, so I'm canning apples like we already know.
Yeah.
I have to double my apple production this year. That's like understood in this house because we have a little one. She loves my canned apples. So we have to double the canned apples. We're going to have triple the blueberries to can this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, or at least triple by the amount that we have. So it's not easy. It's a lot of hard work, and it is so glorified. Like all you're to be doing there is sitting there brushing your cow, petting your animals. You still have to feed them and take care of them and manage everything else that you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
You have to handle it all. And the kids.
That's why you don't go all in to begin with.
No. So you build your homestead slowly. Slow build. Build on your task because everything that you're doing is going to add more to it. And it's a hard choice because you're making a lot of hard choices here. You're choosing most likely to homeschool your kids.
Yep.
Or choosing to send them to public school, whatever options you're choosing. You're choosing to preserve a lot of your own food. You're choosing to grow a lot of your own food, to raise a lot of your own food. These are a lot of hard choices you're having to make. And it's a lot of hard work. It's not just one thing you're choosing a lot of things to put on your plate. So this is why we push for the slow build. And this is where it gets really hard.
It does.
Pulling back.
Figuring out exactly what you do want.
Yes. So I'm so glad we went the way we did. And a lot of people would look at us like we're crazy for going the route we did. But now we have all these perennial systems that are in place that are going to be producing for years and years and just get better and better. You know what? A lot of veteran homesteaders don't have these perennial systems.
Because they didn't start with perennials first. They've started some now, and they're not producing, at the quality they want yet.
Yeah. If I had to buy blueberries at the rate I've seen some of these YouTubing homesteaders, I'd be making sure I had so many plants that it's not even funny.
Yeah. I was talking to one of my coworkers today about blueberries and how many bushes we had. And they were like, oh, wow. They were like, I planted a couple on the back porch. They're saying they get a couple cups. She is still a few years away, from being able to get a good production.
They say year 3. And we're looking at this long term. We're even going to be adding more blueberries onto the property because we just took out some trees in this area. We're thinking, hey, from a certain area down, let's put blueberries. The rest of the area, we're going to put some strawberry beds. Yeah. As we're thinking long term. So we focus on the perennials throughout the property, and then we have the garden area where we focus on that. So the choice to go one income or dual income. This is hard. And this is per every family.
This was our hardest decision.
This was one of our hardest decisions. It's still a hard decision. We still struggle with this sometimes, but we're dealing with it because this is something we just did. So we got out of debt. That decision for us wasn't really hard. It was just buckling down and getting it done. Right. So buckled down, made the decision, made the cuts to our budget, made sure at least 70% of our take-home income was going towards our debt.
Yeah.
And then we were like, okay, once we get out of debt, what's our goal? Well, our goal was to get the homestead up and running. Our goal was to make sure we had more time to spend with each other, more time to spend with the little one, instead of feeling like all of our time was spent doing everything else.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's true. That's why we decided at that point.
And it was just the right decision for us to go down to one income because we could live off of one income. Mm-hmm. And we're still saving 50% at least,
that's
if
our
not
goal.
more, of Aaron's take-home income. It really just depends on your family situation, and what your goals are. I mean, it really does. But it's a decision you have to make. I know for us, one of the big things was the debt. Had to be gone before we ever made that choice. I could not.
She could not.
I could not.
Until that was completely gone.
Because Aaron was like, we need to. We might need to move this up. Or maybe, talk about this. Like, nope, we're not even talking about it now. We got to get rid of the debt first. Yeah. Like, this isn't even an option. We deal with what we have to deal with. And we just put our heads down and get it done. And that was a choice we made. I would not have been good with that. Aaron would have, and we would have dealt with it, but it would have made me feel very uncomfortable.
I'm more of the risk taker.
He is.
Than she is.
He is. He is the risk taker. He is the spender. He's the one who's able to take the risk. I'm the one who is more conservative in our approaches and likes to do things in a more guaranteed fashion. Mm-hmm. Like, okay, if you want to plant fruit trees that are going to give us more food, hopefully we can sell it, but if not, we can eat it. That's how I look at it. Aaron's like, well, just put all these trees out here and we can sell all the fruit. I'm like, okay. We can eat it, and if we have enough, we can sell it. Let's work towards the goal that we know we can do first, which is take care of us, and then hopefully...
Always us first.
Always us first. Or community. If we had one. We got
to work on that some. It's just
we can't figure out where.
Well, I've got a few ideas, but if you are looking to move into rural Southwest Virginia, let us know. But got some other ideas too. Just haven't had time to implement them.
Yeah, we have been really busy with the homestead and everything.
A lot of berries.
A lot of late nights working on a lot of projects on the homestead, and just, again, we're maintaining. Yeah. We're not maintaining. We're pushing forward. We've made a lot of progress so far, but it's progress that should have been made a long time ago that we're just not getting to take care of.
Yeah, that's true.
And that was one of the other reasons we made the choice to go down to one income, so we'd have more time to put towards that.
Yep.
And so, what other hard choices do you think people have to deal with? I would say one for me is whether to stay or whether to move if you live in an area that's more expensive. You make the choice.
I was going to say that one too. I was like, let's see what you say first.
It is so difficult. It is so difficult to, I feel like, to gain traction if you're living in a place that's really high cost of living and you're not making a high income.
Yeah. Yeah.
I really do.
And that's why you hear a lot anymore about the cities are not as populated.
They're so expensive. They're so expensive.
Right.
They're
That's
so expensive.
So, I mean, I always think about, can you do what you do somewhere else? That decision's tough, but
you might have to move away from family. You might have to look at something else. You might have to move from your home to go rent somewhere cheaper. These are all easy decisions to make. They're not, but that would be one. Like, I hate to say, like, that's something you have to think about. I would be more on the line of that's something that you need to be open to considering. Yep. Pros and cons. Like, what can you live with? What can't you live without?
And hard decisions, always good to make a pro and con list on anything you're doing, to look at it and be like, oh, okay, you know, here's the pros of it, here's the cons, you know, did the cons outweigh the pros, and etc. You know, think of it really hard. You know, sit down, don't do it in just a day. Think of it over, you know, maybe a week, a month. You know, keep adding to it, and then sit down and look at it.
Another thing to think about when it comes to this, like a big hard decision we had was the type of animals we were going to bring onto the homestead.
And we did that with that.
We did. And this doesn't seem like that would be a hard decision, a hard choice to make. Like, but it was for us, because we have goals and we have dreams, and we don't want to be hindered.
Right.
This was a big thing for us.
Yeah.
It really was.
It was.
So, and you're like, well, everybody's family is going to have different hard decisions, a hard choice to make. Every family is going to be different. But there are some basic ones out there that you need to look at. And there's nothing wrong with pros and cons. And you need to make sure you're talking these things through. If you don't have a partner, find an accountability partner to help walk you through. Somebody who's going to hold you up and have an honest conversation with you. And play devil's advocate. Like, does this really make sense?
Are you sure?
Like, I mean, we go back and forth with this. Like, playing devil's advocate. Does this really make sense? Sometimes yes, sometimes no.
Right.
It really depends on your situation, your family, and your goals.
Yeah. Well, if you got any comments, you know, leave those down below or send them to thecannycouple@yahoo.com. And make sure to go over and check out our link tree, which has all of our other content. And
make sure you check out our next episode.
100.
100. And thank you for joining us on Rural Reliance with Canny Couple, where we work hard, live simple, and enjoy life. Have a wonderful day.